Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows homes, so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews, all on the app. Download today.
Hello, passengers, and welcome aboard the TV Pilot's License with service to Hawaii and Hawaii 5-0. We ask that you please fasten your headphones, secure your podcasting device, and remember that in case of a crash landing to our destination, make sure to secure your own puka shell necklace before securing a puka shell necklace on others.
Welcome to the TV Pilot's License, or more so, aloha. My name is Geoff Kerbis, joined by Max Singer. Max, aloha, and welcome.
Oh, mahalo for the warm introduction, Jeff. I am excited to solve some crimes and talk TV reboots today.
Yeah, I cannot wait for us to talk about Hawaii 5-0. And just in case you are one of those frequent flyers who likes to watch the pilot episode before you listen to us, we're talking about the 2010 series, not the earlier one, because guess what? That's the one that's available on streaming very, very readily and available. But Max, maybe someone is on here because they're a big Hawaii 5-0 head. Maybe they're here because they're a frequent flyer. Can you tell us what the TV Pilot's License is all about?
Here at TV Pilot's License, we break down and analyze the pilot episodes of some of TV's most famous, or in some cases, infamous shows. We learn more about how these shows came to be and were originally made, if they're effective pilot episodes and making us want to watch more if they can be made today. Go back and stream our old episodes from wherever you listen to podcasts. Check us out on YouTube and TikTok to see our smiling faces. And if it is your first time flying with us, then welcome aboard.
Max, I can't help but bring up the fact that you're wearing such a beautiful shirt. Do you feel in the mood to talk about Hawaii 5-0?
Yeah, I feel like a big old tourist from the mainland with you and I both wearing these aloha prints for today's recording.
Yeah, I mean, I had to put on this shirt. This shirt has a history with our friend group, but I think it is the perfect thing for us to be wearing today. And yours is just a nice shirt. So, you know what? If you want to see us wearing our Hawaiian shirts, you can check us out on the YouTube page. But before we talk too much about Hawaii 5-0, a quick word from our sponsors.
Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows homes, so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews, all on the app. Download today.
Well, Max, let's dive into this world, and we're going to start off with a quick synopsis. When United States Navy officer Steve McGarrett returns home to Oahu to find his father's killer, the governor offers him the chance to run his own special task force. 5-0. Well, I think that is definitely what we watch today, with a few international trips starting us off and in between. But Max, can you tell us the story of how this show got made?
Today we are talking about the pilot episode of Hawaii 5-0, which originally aired on September 20th, 2010 on CBS. Now today's pilot is a reboot, with the original Hawaii 5-0 airing on CBS as well from 1968 to 1980. That series, like today's pilot, was centered around an elite state police unit created by the governor of Hawaii, led by U.S. Naval Officer Steve McGarrett, alongside officers Danny Dano Williams, Chinho Kelly, and the street-smart Kono. The show's title is a reference to Hawaii's status as the 50th state, and the slang term for 5-0 for police originates from this series. This is not the first attempt at rebooting Hawaii 5-0 at CBS. In fact, in 1996, a pilot was filmed starring Gary Busey and Russell Wong, featuring the original Dano, James MacArthur, as the governor. That pilot was not picked up the series. Additionally, Warner Bros. Attempted a film remake of the series back in 2004, although that project stalled in development as well. In 2008, CBS announces yet another attempt at rebooting the series for TV, bringing on Peter Lenkov, who worked on 24 and CSI New York as showrunner, with Alex Kurtzman and Roberto Orci helping with the script. You know them for their work on Xena Warrior Princess, Alias, Fringe, and countless big, loud, dumb 2000s action flicks. The first actor cast in this ensemble was Daniel Day Kim of Lost fame as Chin Ho Kelly. Taking over the role of Steve McGarrett is Australian actor Alex O'Loughlin, with this show marking his third attempt at a leading role in a CBS drama, the other two being less successful as part of his overall. O'Loughlin previously starred on Moonlight, where he played private investigator / vampire Mick St. John, which lasted only 16 episodes.
We need to do that now. I have to see that show.
Oh, get ready for the next one. He followed this up with Three Rivers, a medical drama taking place at a hospital in Pittsburgh, sound familiar, where he played Dr. Andy Yablonsky, a real yinzer, this one lasting just 13 episodes.
Oh my
Filming
God.
of the pilot took place around Honolulu in March 2010, allegedly costing upwards of $10 million to film. The show was picked up to series order that May with 24 episodes by the network. Today's pilot is directed by Len Weissman, known for helming the Underworld franchise and last year's John Wick spin-off Ballerina. And finally, a fun fact, while the original series uses the letter O in its name, the reboot uses a 0. This was done to help distinguish search engine results for the new version.
We love when someone in the SEO department is just like, wait a minute, I've got an idea. And someone actually listens to them. Well, Max, thank you for telling us a little bit more about how this show got made. Let's take a deep dive into this show. And, you know, for a show that's about Hawaii, I did not expect to start in South Korea. Did you expect to start in South Korea, Max, with this show?
This show is called Hawaii 5-0, and it takes us a shockingly long time to get to Hawaii. There's a lot of B-team camera footage going on right now, like B-action movie. We've kidnapped Norman Reedus as a Russian terrorist.
Was not expecting Norman to show up in this pilot.
And there is so much happening and so much shooting in the first 2 minutes of this.
I just want to say that Norman Reedus in this pilot for one episode, right? He was a character for one episode of this show. The same year that The Walking Dead comes out is absolutely fucking bonkers in general. But Max, you mentioned it. This must be one of the most expensive opening shots and opening scenes we've ever talked about on this podcast. It is genuinely insane. And did I expect the Tropic Thunder zoom out for the moment? Yes, I did. I was fully prepared for someone to say cut, and then we get the Tropic Thunder of it all. But what did you think of this very military forward opening, boom, boom, guns, helicopter, tank blow up for a CBS show?
Highest ratio of helicopters and rocket launchers we've covered on a pilot in some time. CBS fascinates me because The Big Bang Theory, and The Price is Right can all coexist with each other. It's a very strange network in the types of programming they have. I don't entirely know what is happening or how it's going to lead us to what I perceive the show as being about. We have terrorists calling Navy SEAL Steve McGarrett while he's on a helicopter halfway around the world. I don't really know how we ended up in South Korea to begin with in this, but obviously the terrorists learned that Anton Hess has been killed amongst all the shooting, to take a word from Austin Powers, and as a result, they have killed Steve McGarrett's father, which is the inciting incident that gets us back to the titular Hawaii.
And not just anyone has killed Steve McGarrett's father. James Marsters, a.k.a. Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Angel has killed Steve McGarrett's father in just absolutely cold blood, being like, oh, my brother's dead, boom, your father's dead sort of moment. But then, Max, after the shot of a gun, we have to talk about one of the most epic orchestral pieces that we've ever talked about on this podcast, which is the Hawaii 5-0 theme song, which sent me into, I don't have nostalgia for the show, but holy shit was I like, yeah, this is fucking awesome, and I can't wait. And like this would be a great ringtone for my phone for sure.
It's an amazing ringtone song, absolutely. I think this is an absolute delight of a song. I love the brass. It's so up-tempo. The drums rule on it. It is jarring to hear something so poppy and jazzy and up-tempo after what we've watched, though. And I think that trying to inject the tone and spirit of the original 5-0 into this behind enemy lines cold open we just have threw me for a total loop. Yeah, like it's an insane contrast to what we just saw compared to like Surf's Up Dude that we get with the original theme music.
Yes, but I do think, we've often talked about the idea of like sometimes pilots don't have the iconic theme song in them. This might have been an appropriate time to save the theme song to the end of the pilot. Like to be able to say, oh, you were worried we weren't going to do the theme song? You dumbass. Of course we're doing the theme song. And we made it with a full orchestra because fuck you. We put so much money into this pilot.
Yeah, the equivalent of getting the title card at the end of the movie,
Exactly.
There are a few Easter eggs to the original series. I know we're all well versed in the 1968 series. I know we're all experts on the original Hawaii 5-0, but there are a few. So as I mentioned up top, it's the same 4 characters. The only difference in the cast being that Kono is now going to be played by a woman, by the actress Grace Park. We have the original theme music. We do get the iconic tagline of Book 'em Dano at the end of this, which is maybe one of the more lasting pieces of pop culture from the original series. And at one point, we do get a glimpse at a Mercury luxury car under a tarp in a garage, paying homage to the original car that Steve McGarrett and the crew used in the original series.
Yeah, I mean, this show is definitely one that was done. You don't try to have something made 3 times. Unless you're like, hey, we got to bring this back for the people who saw the original one, but we're going to make it for 2010, baby. And
I need to see the Gary Busey version from the 90s so
bad. I would pay a lot of money. I'd pay a unreasonable amount of money to see Gary Busey star in this version of
buddy.
Of Hawaii 5-0. But Max, as much fun as I'm having with the theme song and some of the Easter eggs that this show chose to do, I want to bring us back to actual Hawaii. We get to Oahu. Congratulations, Max. You made it through South Korea and you are back. But let's talk about the first person that our lead character gets to see, and that is someone I was surprised about, Miss Jean Smart as the governor of Hawaii.
I honked like a goose when Jean Smart, when Emmy winner from Frasier, future Deborah Vance, Jean Smart appears as the governor of Hawaii, and not only that, is now leading the way with one of my favorite tropes, putting together a crew. She wants a task force assembled to get, I believe, Russian terrorists out of Hawaii. I'm not entirely sure here, but I'm just going along with it. I don't even know what the governor's name is in this pilot. I just keep calling her Governor Jean Smart in my head.
It's just Governor Jean Smart, and that's okay. Like, literally, I was watching this, and then my partner walked in from work, saw Jean Smart on the screen, and said, "You're watching Hacks without me?" And I said, "Oh no, contraire. We are watching Hawaii 5-0 in this moment in time."
Yeah, that arc in Hacks where Deb put together the task force to kill all the Russian terrorists. You remember that season?
I am curious, Max, because when we put a team together, right, as we've done in this podcast many a time before, usually it's a very quick thing of like, hey, your attention, not that long. Like, I'm even thinking about like movies like Ocean's 11, right? Where like putting a team together is a 3-minute to 5-minute thing. This entire pilot seems like we are putting a team together across the entirety of the pilot rather than just being like, hey, 5 minutes, here you go. She's she's the cop in training. He's the ex-former cop. This is the divorced guy, and you're Steve. That's the team. Like
every crew has a divorced guy and a Steve. It's funny that you mentioned Ocean's 11 because wouldn't you know, we get a crossover with Ocean's 11 with one of the members of our crew being Scott Conn as Danny Williams, Dano, as he's affectionately called, and joining this crew. Divorced Dano, what are our thoughts here?
Yeah, I have so many thoughts about Scott Conn's performance in this because when you're given, hey, you're divorced dad from New Jersey who doesn't like the ocean, which is just like one of the funnier things you could do with a character, I think, on the show of just being like, hey, you live on an island and you hate the water. Like, go and run with that for a little bit. And like that being how Scott Conn got into character, very funny. But it's like a sandpaper almost, Scott Conn's character, where like he comes in and he is brash. He is not someone that you want to hang out with. It's not a character that I'm like, ooh, I want to have a beer with him. And like even just his demeanor, like you saw the apartment that he's living in. Would you want to hang out with a guy in that apartment that looks like a hoarder had lived there for years and he's been there for a few weeks?
Not one bit. And what's tricky about this character is it's very clear that Dano of the four is meant to be the comic relief. He's meant to be
100%
the looser one. But I think sandpaper is a good phrase. He is an abrasive character. And everyone kind of fills their role. Like McGarrett is he's the naval officer. He's the straight shooter. He's the leader. We'll get to someone else, Chin-Ho Kelly in a moment, who is kind of like, he's the very cool guy. He's got his like ear to the street. He's got a past with the Honolulu PD that we're going to get into, but he's someone that's looking for a redemption arc, and he like knows the streets. And then we get Kono, who is really like this young hotshot about to graduate, but also like super street smart, streetwise. And if Dano's meant to be the funny one in this quartet, I needed more of that. And I think this is a show that wants to be funny, but never quite figures out how to interject that humor to go along with the action that can make shows like this, these like action procedurals, so effective. I wanted a little bit more of a chuckle out of anyone.
It's interesting because I want to get to the next big set piece we have, because I think that we start to see a little bit more of the comedy of Dano after this set piece, which is, Max, don't you hate it when you get into a shootout with fully automatic weapons in a trailer park? Because boy, was I not expecting that. And also some of like just some wild action pieces that are happening on a primetime CBS show is so confounding to me. What did you think of this second piece that we got?
So we get a hostage taken. We get a woman in a bikini basically just thrown into directly the line of fire of a semi-automatic weapon. And for the folks at home, whether or not you've watched this, this is Dano and Steve, you know, that iconic duo, Dano and Steve, looking to get some information by tracking down, I believe it's an arms dealer named Duran, and things go south very quick, and then everyone's just firing semi-automatic weapons at each other.
Yeah, there is one moment that they had in this where it was just like, I think Steve was going to try to like run up to Duran and then jumps over a car that then crashes into another car, and it just seemed so out of place. But I even was like, oh, that was cool. Like that my dumb brain was like, ooh, I would definitely watch that on replay a couple of times.
There is a really cool bit of framing though that they get away with in this sequence where Duran is about to kill McGarrett and he gets popped from behind by Dano, and he like falls down out of the frame, and cool. you see Dano through the shot out car door side mirror. I'm like, oh, that's that's really fun framing. Like, that's a very TV moment, and it sort of paints Dano as like the hero who's coming around now. It's very much like him accepting his role in this crew, and I did think that was a really fun bit of filming.
Yeah, I mean, it does that shot, right? The literal shot from Dano is where we start to see the writers, I think, try to introduce a little bit of the comedy of like Dano being like, oh, thank you, by the way, or you're welcome, by the way, for like saving your life, sort of thing. And that, like, trying to build that rapport with Steve seems to be done with that. But the other thing, as we bring this crew together, right, is as much as Dano is trying to be the comedy, I think Shinho Kelly and Kono are more of the comedy in this, at least in this pilot that we get, right? Where like we go to the Hawaiian ice place, right? And they're setting up the two white guys to take the fall, spend all of this money on tourism shit. And we get the little girl pointing out the two cops being like, you're cops, right? Like that, to me, great comedy. Grace Park as Kono beating the shit out of someone for impeding on her wave, that was funny to me. Dano talking about his divorce multiple times in this pilot, I don't know. I didn't find that as funny as some of the other things that happened in the show.
I think also just like messing with the guy from New Jersey is where we get some fun bits of comedy too. I want to give a shout out to Taylor Wiley, who plays the shopkeep informant in this. You may also know him from Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah.
Just plays a delightful little bit of humor in ribbing these two guys, forcing them to cough up more money they expect for him to give any informant secrets away, and making them buy merchandise from his shop with his face on it.
Yeah, no, I did love that. I thought that was a moment that the show needed, because it, up until this point, when there wasn't guns being fired or cars crashing, I was like, oh, where's the dialogue? What makes Steve interesting that I want to follow him all of the time? And getting that, I was like, oh, we're having a little bit of fun. But Max, I want to talk about something that was also a little bit different, and I want to talk about the Kono of it all. And not only our introduction to Kono, but the choice to gender swap Kono and make this a female character played by Grace Park. And I'm curious, from your perspective, what do you think of Kono and maybe some of the choices we made Grace do in this pilot?
Definitely my favorite of the main four. I like that they portray her as this surfing, like fast-talking badass who doesn't take shit. The first time we see her, she is riding a wave and then punches a tourist in the face for encroaching on her wave.
A+.
I think that she interjects a real spark plug into this cast, and I think I know what you're alluding at, which is that like we put her in the most danger out of anyone in our main four.
100%.
We immediately put her in the most real, not TV set piece danger too, like uncomfortable levels of danger. And from a writing perspective, it's, the two vets who probably should be looking out for the younger member of their team, putting her in an unsafe position. From an action standpoint, it lets her just start beating the shit out of henchmen when we get to this warehouse. But she's my favorite of these four.
Oh, 100%. Like, I'm a big Daniel Day Kim fan as well. And like, I love Grace Park. Battlestar Galactica is such a great show because of her and some of her contributions to it. So when I saw her on the screen, I was like, oh yeah, Grace Park's going to beat the shit out of someone. And I got that. And I was very, very pleased about like letting the person who's good at punching be good at punching. I think it is such a nice thing. Now, do we need Grace Park to not wear clothes as much as this pilot decided to do so? Give or take. It's such an interesting choice too. Like, we could have just had the surfing scene and been like, great, but having that scene where we're talking with people who are trafficking human beings, interesting choice.
Well, I think that having her stripped down to reveal that she's not wearing a wire is more plot focused than the multiple extended interludes where they just play like trip hop beats and show women in bikinis for 30 seconds at a time. Like, that is just establishing we are loud and sexy in Hawaii, where at least the Kodo and Sang Min interaction, while incredibly creepy and bothersome, is done from it's a plot perspective. It shows the real danger she's in, but also she can handle herself. Like, Grace Park is not a damsel in distress. This is not someone that we're sending to a warehouse who can't handle themselves. For everything that we put her through that is uncomfortable for a viewer's perspective, we get 2 moments in return where she handles her shit and punches people in the face and is totally in control of the situation when the moment arises.
What did you think of this third set piece, though? Because this was definitely, of the ones that we talk about today, this was the smallest one. This was the most intimate of these set pieces that we're dealing with.
Yeah, only one car crashed in this one.
Only one car crashed, and I'm going to complain about it. But it also, I'm curious, I think this is the moment where I started to believe, like, oh, Steve McGarrett is good at his job, sort of thing. And I found it very interesting that the pilot chose for it to take this long to show us that our protagonist is good at his job.
Well, I think all 4 people, in a way, are trying to do the same thing, which is they're all on a redemption arc of some kind. All 4 of them are trying to prove themselves. Steve is trying to reconnect with society after being in whatever covert Navy operation he's been in and get redemption for his father's death. Danny is trying to prove himself as a father, as a cop. He's trying to make the most of his new life. He has something to prove there. Chin-Ho Kelly, who was kicked out of Honolulu PD, he's trying to prove that, like, he can still do this, that he can be an officer, that he can do the job he wants. And they say that Kodo, although she's top of her class, will never be taken seriously because she's Chin-Ho Kelly's cousin. So it's like everyone here is very good at what they do, and they all have a chip on their shoulder. So it's like the 4 of them are all, in a way, working towards the same goal, which I think is very interesting.
Yeah, I really think that we do, for a pilot that doesn't reveal much and takes so much time to give us the team that we're going to get used to every week, right? We're going to see all of these characters every week. It is something that builds a case as to why these people need to be working together. What are the benefits that they are going to be getting from working each other? What are the skill sets that they make up for each other in this sense? And, you know, using all those skill sets, whether it's internal connections or street smarts or maybe just being a good cop, we get to the big finding, which is, hey, this guy that killed Steve's dad, he's going to be on this boat, and it's going to China unless they do something about it. And
Gene Smart says, "Don't you dare get on that boat."
The phone call from Gene Smart where she's just like, "I don't want an international incident." And I was just like, you know what, Gene? Fair. I also don't want an international incident if I'm Gene Smart. But what do you think about our Chinese freighter? We get one more car crash, which, you know, this show had plenty of them. But what did you think of the action? What did you think, most importantly, about one of the most amazing kill shot lines I have ever heard in my life?
I mean, just really quick, obviously this could also be a rejected Hacks plotline where Deb learns that a whole Chinese freighter full of QVC goods is actually smuggling Russian terrorists onto the mainland. And so now all of the DV for QVC gear has just been completely tainted. That's been left in China. All these Russian terrorists have made it over here now. What are you going to do? We not only get car crashes, we get car crashes onto boats. We're crashing vehicles onto different types of vehicles. There's levels of vehicle crashing happening that I can't even conceive of right now. And it's very, very badass. Something I learned in researching this is that Alex O'Loughlin actually screen tested for James Bond back in 2005 when they were looking for actors for the Sam Mendes ones that ended up being Daniel Craig. And this sequence where people are fighting and beating up terrorists and shooting people on shipping freighters felt like the lower budget TV version of the opening set piece from Casino Royale, where they're like on top of cranes and scaffolding and they're running across all of those like beams and construction sites, where it's like, let's just show you how much this dude can kick ass. We've put him in harm's way for multiple set pieces now. Dano's had to save him. He's had to just kind of hit someone with a car. Now we're going to let Steve just get into fist fights with terrorists.
Yeah, and for this, you know, we have a moment that feels like it's an all is lost moment. And for Steve to look someone dead in the eye and say, there's something you should know about your brother. He died the same way you did. And then just shoot him perfectly in the chest. Oh, mwah. It was, I was even like, oh my God. Yes, 100%. Show it to me 3 more times.
And to couple that then with Scott Conn having another terrorist on the ground and just getting the Book of Dano, it's like you do get a back-to-back of cool guy one-liners. They really concentrated all the cool guy lines to the final beats of this pilot.
There was one very funny Scott Conn moment with that last bad guy where he was just like, what are you doing? Do you think you're going to get away, to the guy who's struggling on the ground, like fully handcuffed? I did really enjoy that line. But, you know, this pilot ends, Max, with our team in what appears to be the new headquarters for the 5-0 team, trying to come up with a name and one more rendition of that kick-ass theme song. But I'm curious. There were a lot of things we talked about, maybe some things that we didn't talk about as much as you were thinking. Are there any things that you loved about this pilot that you wanted to give a little bit more shine to?
I do like the final line of Steve saying, I say we keep thinking. I'm almost glad they didn't say 5-0 at any point in this. That might have been a little bit too on the nose. Listen, there is some incredible shooting in this. There are very well choreographed action sequences. It is extremely evident that Len Wiseman knows his way around big budget action-y things, and they take full advantage of it. This feels like another world to me, these types of shows. I don't watch a lot of these CBS military police type of procedurals, but there's definitely a few moments that got me to smile and say, hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a lot of fun. It is a lot of action. It's very 911 coded. And what I mean when I say that is it's fun to see a studio spend money on things and it be like practical effects and it be like actual action sets rather than just green screen or what Disney has been doing, which is even bigger green screen that you happen to be standing on, sort of thing. So yeah, that's so much fun. Let's talk a little bit about wait a minute moments. And this wait a minute moment is also a thing that I loved, but there's a moment in this show, and this is going to sound awful when I first bring it up. There's a moment in this show where there is a shipping container filled with people being human trafficked. And if you stop the show, the moment they show this container opened, there is an extra who's staring directly into the lens of the camera. Not like he couldn't try harder if he like was literally right in front of it. It is one of the most perfect moments where you just are like, please don't look into the camera. And the guy's like, but what if I did? And what if it was way too expensive to bring us back when you realize that you fucked up? So like A+ there. Thank you, extra, for getting me a chuckle in a very dark moment of this show. But Max, what about you? Any wait-a-minute moments that caused you pause?
Every time that Governor Gene Smart isn't on screen, all the other characters should be saying, "Where's Governor Gene Smart?" I just overall needed this to be 10% goofier. Yeah. I don't need this to be as far-fetched as Fox's Lethal Weapon, but you mentioned 911 and just the investment in big set pieces and big action, and I need a little bit more of like a pop of color. I need the entire color palette just turned up a little bit. I need a couple of jokes that aren't just the wise-ass, fast-talking Scott Conn playing Scott Conn that I've always seen him play. I just needed something that, I don't know, gave me a little bit more of a lighter tone, but I guess that's just not what CBS does with these shows.
Yeah, it is interesting because we are sort of like right dead in the middle in 2010 of like, what if we did this but dark sort of thing? Like we're starting that era. So I could very much see there is a studio executive who's like, hey, it can't be too corny. We have to take ourselves way too seriously with Hawaii Five-0. We can't bring that same vibe of the original. It has to be like a distantly related cousin for the most part. Max, we do have one more question. This is an in-flight question. This week's in-flight question comes to us from Drew in St. Louis, Missouri. And Drew asks, what's a unique crime that really only happens in Hawaii? Could be a real answer, or y'all give wrong answers only anyways. So I am curious, Max, what is our bad advice / our unique crime that only happens in Hawaii?
I'm going to say luau pickpocketing, just absolutely going around and stealing jewels and watches. But also, I want to let this know that this is like a White Lotus, like it's one of the mainland boys with a grudge against the guests. This is not an entertainer. This is not a local. This is basically the equivalent of Lucas Gage in season 1 of White Lotus committing petty theft.
Yeah, for me, we actually saw, I think, in this pilot, a crime that is very unique to Hawaii, which is stealing someone's wave while they're surfing on it. Fuck you if you do this. It is dangerous. Having surfed in my lifetime, knowing how to surf, enjoying surfing, if you steal someone's wave while they're actively surfing on it, you deserve to get your ass beaten. And then, yes, I think you should be beaten to the point where you need medical intervention because it is so dangerous to do this. Don't do that. And when Grace Park hit the shit out of that guy in the face and basically knocked him out, I cheered because I was like, hell yeah, Grace Park. You go, Kono. Well, thank you so much for that in-flight question, Drew. If you have an in-flight question and you want to be a little bit like Drew, you can submit those at tvpilotslicense.com. You can also give us a call or leave us a voicemail and a text message at 213-290-1713. Before we get to the history of the show, a quick word from our sponsors one last time.
Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows homes, so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews, all on the app. Download today.
Well, Max, let's talk a little bit about the history of Hawaii Five-0. This version. I'm not going to talk about the other version. This show had 10 seasons and 240 episodes.
There's another world out there.
There is another world out there because wait till I tell you about the ratings for the show. This show averaged for the first 9 seasons, no less than 10.2 million viewers per episode. And this is my suspected theory. CBS / Paramount, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but the last season, the 10th season, was the lowest. It dropped down to 7.19 average viewers. But that was also because it was during COVID, and I'm pretty sure that like TV was just completely messed up and streaming. We were all watching Tiger King at that moment in time, and it was a weird time. But this show did get all the way up to the number 15 TV show amongst all reoccurring shows. This show had a few crossovers on CBS. CBS loves a crossover. Things with NCIS, Los Angeles, MacGyver, and Magnum PI. But like the part that makes me sad is those are both the serious versions of those shows. Like Magnum PI was very serious in the 2010s, as was MacGyver in the 2010s.
Yeah, call me when the young Sheldon family is going on vacation in Hawaii.
Oh my God, I would actually love to see that version.
I know, right?
I want it so badly. So this show started syndication on TNT after its third season. You can find it today on Paramount Plus and Netflix. Yes, there are DVDs. This show was also shown internationally throughout the world, so you were probably in on Hawaii Five-0 wherever you are. I do want to talk about the effects of this show on Hawaiian tourism. Not like it needs help, but this is actually pretty cool. There was a 25% increase in visits to the USS Missouri after this show debuted. This show also, there is the Waiоla Shave Ice business. That company saw a 30% increase in sales after the show. And Kona Brewing also was featured as McGarrett's favorite beer. And after that mention, that brewing company saw a 60% increase in sales. So you know what? Hell yeah. We absolutely love to see bumps like that.
Good for you, Shaved Ice Company. Good for you.
Really quickly, let's talk about awards. The show had 28 nominations and 10 wins. That includes a People's Choice Award, a TV Guide Award, 3 BMI Film and TV Awards, thanks to Keith Power and Brian Tyler for that kick-ass theme song, as well as the soundtrack for this entire show. And Max, while surfing is very popular in Hawaii, this show was nominated for multiple Teen Choice Awards, but there is no surfing on the job, Dano. And that is the history of this show. But Max, our flight is coming to a land. And before we go and hang 10, I have 2 questions for you. The first is, based off the pilot and the pilot alone, are you watching more Hawaii Five-0? And the second is, this is a reboot, right? This is a reboot where they chose to go a little bit more serious than the original. Do you want a reboot of something else? Is there a show that you're dying to see a reboot of and maybe renew the life of some IP that might have been forgotten or not received the love that it deserved?
This is a show that for years, for truly 16 years, every time I saw an ad for it, I went, huh, they're still making that? And this is my first time watching it. I was shocked to hear this had 240 episodes, and I do not think I will be watching the other 239. It just felt very self-serious. It just did not have what I needed from my type of action show, and if I need my Scott Cod fix, I will watch Ocean's 11 for the 150th time. I'm also just kind of over the let's bring back an older action show and redo the same thing again. I don't need Magnum PI. I didn't need Lethal Weapon when we did it. I don't need Hawaii Five-0. I don't need, I don't know what else, $6 Million Man, whatever else we're thinking about doing. It just, to me, feels like such a retread now, and there are things like Get Smart with Steve Carell and Anne Hathaway that can get some laughs, but to me, I'm just not in the camp of needing more of these types of serious versions of shows.
Yeah. For myself, based off the pilot and the pilot alone, unfortunately, this is going to be a no for me, dog. And this, like, if you explain this on paper, you're like, all right, listen, Geoff, we're going to have explosions, multiple car crashes, gunshots. There's going to be just a cast of gorgeous people. Are you in? 9 out of 10 times, yes, this is the no. because I agree with you. The show was way too serious for itself. As far as reboots, I'm in a very specific camp on rebooting IP, and that is if it has a purpose and a point and is unique. And why I say that specifically is I look at the most recent reboot of Sabrina that was on Netflix, where it was just bonkers. That show is insane. And like they very much said, what if we did it and it's sort of the comics, but we went emo as hell? Hell yeah. That show fucking rocked. Can't wait to do it for the podcast. But that show went in with a very distinct point of view, perspective on how it's going to go. I don't need my mom and dad's TV shows to be back on the air and us to take them so seriously.
So what you're saying is everything should be a part of the Riverdale's extended universe.
Yes,
Okay.
I am of the mindset that everything should be part of the Riverdale extended universe. I, Geoff Kerbis, solemnly do swear that everything is Riverdale if you try hard enough. But Max, with the plane landed and the seatbelt sign off, that is our episode. So I want to make sure that folks can find you wherever you'd like to be found.
You could catch me with Governor Gene Smart and on all things social media at Maxwell Singh.
And you can find me also staring directly into the camera when I'm being filmed. But if you're looking for me on social media, you can find me at Run Chef Run. If you're looking for the TV Pilot's License, you can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can also see our smiling faces on YouTube and find us on most social media platforms at TV Pilot's License. If you have a question about the show or for our next episode, maybe a suggestion, you can submit those at tvpilotslicense.com or give us a call and leave us a voicemail at 213-290-1713. We do also take texts for sure, and we'll share those on the air like Drew. Make sure to watch out for some of the stuff that we have coming up. Thank you to those of you who have been subscribing, leaving comments, leaving reviews. It does really help the podcast out. You'll notice that we have advertising now, which is amazing, and it's something that is possible because of you frequent flyers and you new listeners as well. So thanks for coming along on the journey. But with the plane landed and the seatbelt sign off, we look forward to flying the bright skies of the TV world with you again soon. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies and your fingers on the dial.
Book 'em, Kerbis.
Oh.
Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows homes, so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews, all on the app. Download today.